Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marchello, Currence, Rain back up in this. So, this is part two of the karma computer. All right, we covered in the first one that it's out the hands of humans when it comes to this karma computer. We can't look to people to blame. We can't look for people to be angry at when they point out what you owe. When they simply point out what you owe. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens. People want to shoot the messenger, but the messenger is only telling you what you owe in the karma computer. The messenger is only telling you that, ma'am, you got to pay this bill. Ma'am, sir, you got to pay this bill. And whether you feel in the black community that we're being enemies or not, this is the truth. That's the bottom line. And for every skilled master and warrior, the highest levels of information and knowledge partaken in is being able to take in the information and knowledge based on the perception of your enemies about you. One of the highest levels of information, knowledge, and wisdom is being able to take the information that your enemies are telling you about yourself. It's not always deceptive. It sometimes is because they're scanning for flaws, they're scanning for information that makes you lose, in their opinion, and contradict good. Your enemies' eyes are open, looking for something, while your friends are blinded, while your family is blinded. You're blind to facts. You're blind to the obvious information because you're not scanning, looking for it. What you're doing, in fact, is intentionally turning a blind eye. That's what you're doing. Every time those gangbangers kill somebody and y'all don't go protest, you know what you just did? You just turned a blind eye. But you know what your enemies would do? These white people would do. That's racist. They'll make videos and they'll talk among themselves. You see how those black people are just killing each other and stuff? Because their eyes are waiting. Their ears are waiting for information about you that is not good. Yeah. And what you have done in the black community, you have allowed yourself to become so deaf and blind concerning your own evils that now you don't even talk about it. Not as a community. You know what these actors are saying? We gonna do better. You know what these basketball players are saying at best? Do better. You say that to a child with bad grades in the 5th grade. Do better. That's what you say to your child in the 5th grade. You don't even say that when they go to college. You don't say do better. You break down what they need to do. This is crunch time. You're in college now. You're trying to get a degree. This determines what you're going to be. You get lectured. You get schooled. You get ran through with a fine-tooth comb because it's crunch time. Ain't time for 5th grade uh, scoldings. Do better. See what I'm saying? And this is all that your leaders have been doing. Do better. Like you're in the fifth grade. When it's crunch time, like you're in college, and which is concerning your destiny. It's crunch time, like you're in college, seeing if you're going to make your destiny or not. Because look, some people are going to be left behind. You're going to be so surprised when you turn around, black community, and it's you. You think you can, no, you can't survive that karma computer, man. Because we can plead, we can beg, we can do whatever. But that karma computer is going to say, nope, 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 nope. Because they have no intentions of changing, and they're doing it to themselves. We're highlighting this in the computer, in the karma computer. It's done at the hands of their own people. That's a highlight. That's a highlight in the karma computer. Yeah, remember that yellow old school highlighters? That's a yellow highlighter. And you have been so blinded and deaf of ears that to you, this is normal. This has become normal. So now when your enemies tell you what is going on, and they talk to you in a matter of fact fashion, you immediately think this is an enemy because no one else around you is talking about it. When it can actually be out of concern. When it actually can be just the truth that you have to accept, whether they like you or not. So that's what you have to see. You know, and now the government, I gotta get on you. Now, you like I said, you conspired against Martin Luther King Jr. That man did nothing to no one. That man tried to unite people. Whatever flaws he had, the smoking of tobacco, the adultery, cheating on his wife, that isn't harming your country. That didn't call for his assassination, which you admitted in court in 1999 that you were responsible for conspiring against the life of Martin Luther King Jr. This is a fact. This is things that people in this country, this is a hardcore fact that people in this country do not know. They don't know that you conspired against Martin Luther King Jr. They don't know that your government conspired to kill that man. They don't know that you was following him and watching him. We have to update the people on what happened in that situation. Because you're not doing it. You didn't do it. You didn't tell the people you went to court in 1999 and settled out of court with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family for conspiring against him. You didn't update the American community on that. That's why this is coming up. The karma computer is bringing it up. Yeah. Because you didn't tell the nation and the people. And you didn't change your conspiring ways. So now all of it is being dumped back on you. If you didn't change, why should you? Why? Why should what you deserve be held back from you? If you haven't changed, if you haven't changed, then you get all you deserve. There's no reason to stop what you deserve because you have not changed. So you're going to continue to do what you've been doing. So therefore, the karma computer brings a judgment according to your nature to stop you because you're not going to stop. So your nature brings upon you what you deserve. See, this is the problem. And so now you want a leader, now you want somebody to save you, and it's not going to happen. You have to turn from your wicked ways. I know this is very cliche, but this is still is real, and real is never going to change. Keeping it real is never going to go out of style. You know what I'm saying? Even saying keeping it real is never going to go out of style. People may say keep it a buck, keep it 100, different things. Keep it funky. Keeping it real is never going to go out of style. Keep it factual. Keep it honest. Okay? So America is now dealing with their history, as a government is now dealing with their history. Okay, you haven't changed your ways good enough. You didn't tell the people. You have to confess. Yes, you have. It is important to confess. This is important. It is important to confess, to show people you have turned from your wicked ways. That yes, we went to court and we did conspire against Martin Luther King Jr. Show us your real nature. Show us who you really have been. Show us the truth of who you really have been. And then you can receive some mercy. But if you do not confess, if you do not, when you go to jail, when you go to prison, if you do not confess of what is being the charges, then when you are actually found to be guilty of the actual charges in its actual nature, then the punishment is worse. And so, for what you've done against Martin Luther King Jr. is one of the worst things in your American history besides slavery. And the reason why is now that we see the end of the world approaching, this was the greatest leader in the history of America. Who else? Let's keep it real. This wasn't no perfect person. I'm not debating that. But who was the best leader in America? You can't compare Obama and Martin Luther King Jr. Come on now. That's going a little too far. Okay? You can't compare him. He met a milestone. He paved. He's a pioneer, a maverick. Obama was a pioneer and a maverick, but he does not compare to Martin Luther King Jr. and what his work achieved. So this was the greatest man in our community. Who you gonna bring up? Abraham Lincoln? Nah. Abraham Lincoln was not a voice that was trying to unite the people per se, as Martin Luther King Jr. was, or to the potency levels of Martin Luther King Jr. That's two different levels. So who else you got that you can compare Martin Luther King Jr. with in this country? Who else you got? Who else is there? So we all can agree that this was the greatest leader. Martin Luther King Jr. was the greatest leader. Who else? Now you're realizing it. Now it's dawning on you that this is who you killed. You killed the greatest leader in this country. You killed the greatest leader this country has ever seen. And then you settled out of court with his family and admitted to conspiring against the greatest leader in this country. Yes, you did, in 1999. And then you did not update the American community and nation that you settled out of court. This is hidden information. We know when history is hidden because we have to dig. Why do we have to dig to find out that the American government settled out of court with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family in 1999? Why did we have to dig for that? Why is that not in all these documentaries, all these new documentaries? Okay? And I'll even go on to say, why aren't your favorite African American leaders talking about this fact that the American government settled out of court with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family in 1999 for $100? Less than $1,000. That is ridiculous. This is facts. The American government doesn't just agree to something they didn't do. We know this. They didn't just go to court and try to give them a courtesy of a courtesy settlement. The American government doesn't do that. They wouldn't do that. That is also unlawful, to just go and admit something to something you didn't do. That is just as well as unlawful, to admit to a nature of something that you are not. That's unlawful. It is. So you went and settled out of court with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family. Okay? You are guilty of conspiring against Martin Luther King Jr. That's how we want to hear it. The greatest leader that was ever in this country. I don't care nothing about the military. I don't care nothing about that. Because that's where you want to put all your honor at. The honor is with the greatest leader. And you killed your greatest leader that did you no wrong. And you could say it's the times of this, the times of that, but then why didn't you upgrade us? You could say it was the times of racism, and that's what it was, but this is the same American government that you uphold. This is the same one. And if you had showed any ways of changing, why are you still conspiring? Why are you doing the same things you did to Martin Luther King Jr. to people now in the present time. So you've shown no way of change. You've shown that you have not changed. Yeah. So why should it be let go? Huh. You have no changed behavior. Why should we forgive you? You're still conspiring. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're still full of games, still creeping around the greatest giants in town. Let's keep it 100. That's what you're doing. You're going against the biggest thing you see. You're trailing around the biggest thing you see. And now you're around me, and God is not having it. God is not having it. And this is why you have COVID-19. This is why you have all these things. People look like they're losing their mind. That's why the sky look like it does. Because God's not playing. Enough is enough. I don't care what it's about, who it's about. Enough foolishness is enough foolishness. It's an easy formula to understand. Enough foolishness is enough foolishness. And now it's death time. Because unlike Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, I'm not going to pray for you. I'm going to pray that God's judgment comes properly on a people that have not changed. That's what I'm going to do. Now, you Christians can get mad at me and say, well, that's not the way. Well, hey, my God is also a God of judgment. And if you show no signs of change and you keep doing the same exact thing, then it's time for judgment. And that's what I'm praying for. Playtime is officially over. You think this is a carnival? You think this is some game? We're going to make you gamers suffer. You will not be laughing. Because God has seen how you acted during COVID, during last year, when you should have had a heart of compassion on your own community. But you continued in your evil, even while your community was suffering. So you had no sense of humanity when humanity was suffering around you. It did not soften your heart. It did not soften your mind or soul to be a better human being. Right there. Right there. So you have a whole serious other judgment that's coming on you that you're not even ready for. Because God has seen how you acted and behaved during COVID. You're still doing evil. You should have had a more compassionate sympathetic disposition, but you continued in your evils. Therefore, something beyond COVID is coming. Way beyond COVID is coming. Because of all that you're sending up into the karma computer. The karma computer is accurate, precise, and totally intelligent. Totally intelligent. Understanding all dynamics. Understanding that you during COVID should have had a more compassionate heart and you did not. You should have been more sympathetic to humanity and preserving life, but yet you still played with people like me. You still gang stalked. You still conspired. You still did all these evils during COVID and even now, and that's all going up to the karma computer, and it's not looking good for you. So all you did to Martin Luther King Jr., it's not over. That's not over. That's not let go. No, no, no. Even when somebody goes to prison, no, even when a crime has been done 30, 40 years ago, and it's horrific enough, if the person is found, they go to prison. You could say you settled out of court and that's therefore your way of justice, but you didn't change your nature. You didn't, this is your way I'm gonna say it this way. You can say this is your way of repenting, but you did not truly repent of your conspiracy nature against African Americans that are great and intellectual and want change in your community. What you still are doing are conspiring against the greatest in the African community. Those who are African, you are still conspiring and watching them without a great enough cause. You haven't changed your nature. Therefore, although you went to courts, therefore, because even though you did those things, you and signed papers and signed off and did this, you did not change your nature. The